Our next speaker is John Delgado. He's president of Labor's Local 79, and he's here to talk about another workplace, the construction industry. You're mostly the people that build the buildings.
Correct.
And
Take 'em
so,
down.
and take them down. He builds them and takes them down, builds them and takes them down. The key issue here is that's a hazardous workplace too. So if you can address, why is it considered dangerous? What does the union do to protect its members? What are your challenges with the employers? And what are your challenges with the city buildings department and with the state of New York? And how do we get a safer environment for your members? John Delgado.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here this morning with such a great panelist up here and great audience. About 29, 30 years ago, I started myself in the labor movement. I became a laborer. I worked out there. If you look out the window, you might see one of the projects that I worked out at the labor. I worked 7 World Trade Center was one of the projects that I literally worked as a laborer. I built that building from the ground up. One of the privileges that we have as construction laborers is that we are one of the first ones on a job site, and we are one of the last ones to leave. So I can literally say that I've done everything a laborer has done out in the field in about 17 years as a laborer, except one thing that I didn't get to do. I'm sure all of you in here heard of our famous subway hero, Wesley Autry, who someone fell into the track, who was able to lean on top of the person and save them. He was one of our members. I'm pretty sure, thank you. I'm pretty sure that he had to measure the distance, between the train and that's called confined space. That we do a training in confined space. So I'm sure that somewhere, somehow, there had to be something linked to that. But I've done everything else except that. We take it very, very serious in Labor's local union, in Local 79, in the Mason Tenders District Council with our PAC, Mike McGuire, who does a tremendous job lobbying and making sure that guidelines are put into place in work safety. Thank you, Mike. Mike is well known throughout New York City. He speaks in behalf of the 17,000 members that Mason Tenders represent. And we take our jobs very serious. I take my job very, very serious. We have a training center in Long Island City. 2010, we averaged more or less 181,490 hours of training that we gave our members. 181,490 hours of training that we made sure that our members went through. And some of the basic trainings and there is about 47 classes that our members should take. Apprentices must take all of them, but new members should take 47 classes. They're not mandatory for them to take it. We try to negotiate with the contractors as we negotiate to have some of these classes being mandatory. OSHA is a mandatory class to have. We're very, very strong in OSHA. We make sure that no one cannot enter a job site. No one can enter into a job site unless he's got his OSHA card. He can't. So we want to make sure that safety is very important. 32-hour scaffolding is another one that's very, very important. Scaffolding. There's so many classes we give from CPR to sexual harassment, to confined space, to scaffold use, to 2-point suspension. There's 47 classes we have available for our members. And we make sure that any new apprentices that come in, they're able to take the classes, learn, because we believe that an educated labor, it's a labor that's going to go back home, same way he entered that morning in the workplace. And it's very important for us, because I'm going to give you some numbers, some statistics of some numbers that we have been able to pull out that happens out there. And the numbers are probably declining, and you might ask yourself, well, is it declining because of the amount of work that's not there, or amount of permits that are not there? An example, in 2009, there was a decline of 7% in permits. That's all there was, a decline, 7%. Meanwhile, you know what? There was a decline in construction accidents. There was a decline in construction accidents. Our purpose is to be able to make the workplace as safe as possible for our laborers. Okay, let me start with the statistics. From 2010 to 2009, 157 reported accidents. And we must learn another thing. Just because there are accidents in the job sites doesn't mean they're reported. The non-union sector hides so good that we have a problem with that. And it's a problem that we're looking into, we're addressing it. We have about 9 to 11 picket lines every single day out there. And you see those blown up rats out there, and you'll see those guys blowing whistles. A lot of them are from Labor's Local 79. And we videotape the job sites. And we literally have found out that individuals in non-union job sites that have been hurt, they've fallen off, either broken an arm, broken a leg, literally take them home and then tell them, go see your doctor, go see your hospital. Because they don't want to be liable for it. And we have to pass laws. We have to get more aggressive in holding these developers, these contractors, accountable for those accidents. This is why when I say reported, there's a lot of accidents out there that are not reported. Every union contractor reports their accident. There's an accident report that he shops to and must make sure that's filed. Non-unions don't have that. They don't have that privilege, somebody representing them. So in total number of injuries, again, have declined by about 31%. And I attribute that to the training that we give our members. There's no, in my life, and I share this and I can relate to what John was saying, there's nothing worse than to get a phone call in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day that one of your members has been involved in an accident and has passed away. And I know the feeling because I've attended many, many funerals where you see the spouses, the children there. And you know what? If you ever want to be concerned, maybe you should go to one of them. Maybe you should attend one of those funerals. Maybe you should be there next to that spouse. Maybe you should be there next to that child. Because that morning when that member left or that individual left to go to work, he thought he was coming right back home. He had no idea that was going to be his last day of work. No idea. And we take that very, very serious. We want to make sure that the workplace that people work in, that the contractors as developers, they're trying to cut corners. Because in these days, it's all about the mighty buck. They want more out of an individual. They want more out of them and pay less. They want to be able to cut corners. And this is why, in John stressed, the unions are so important. Because we're the voice of the working men. We're their voice. We're their eyes and ears. We're the ones that stand up for their rights. We're in the training. We're the ones that literally, care for them and care for their families. So, another thing that we must understand that, and this might be a little shocking, but be aware of this. 78% of all accidents out there, 78% of all accidents out there occurred in non-union jobs. When are we going to really pay attention to that? When are we going to look into it and say, wait a minute, there is a problem here. There's a serious problem here. But yet, a lot of us tend to ignore it. A lot of us that have some sort of authority to be able to look into it and to be able to make a difference. And all we want is hold everyone accountable to the same standards. That's all we want. That's all I want. That's all I want. If you're building in New York City, you're going to build non-union. I don't want you building non-union. I'll be back after you. But you know what? Have the same standards that a union developer or union contractor has in a union job. Have the same guidelines, same regulations, same type of respect for the working men and women. I'm sure a lot of you wear the shirtwaist triangle, and one of our members, one of the workers that work for a job site non-union up in 101st Street for Latia Construction. And this is how bad the industry is. Need to be aware how bad the industry is. Leatia Construction gets awarded the first stimulus package. They were the first ones to be awarded that money by the Obama administration. Here, you're building one of the first projects in New York City. Prevailing wage, which means they're about 2 cents less than a union contractor per hour. 2 cents less. Get a hold of Nick Leatia, bring him to my office, sit with him at my table. You can't afford it. 2 cents less? No, I can't afford it. So when a developer or a contractor tells me that he can't afford it, it's not right. So we decided to get a little deeper into the situation. We put in what we call SALTs. It's a non-union job. They'll go in there, they apply for a job, they get hired, and they're feeding us information. Well, the workers were being locked in the building. They were not able to leave the building. This is 2011, 2010. Unbelievable. Getting paid $17, $13 an hour. They were giving them a check, prevailing wage check, proper check, whether it was a carpenter or electrician, whatever the amount was, $30, $50, $60 an hour, giving them a check, taking them to New Jersey in a van, cashing the check with them. The gentleman comes back into the van and hands them the envelope with all the money. And then they give them a percentage back. When we get all the information together, we bring it to certain people here in New York City. They look at it. It wasn't looked fast enough for my needs, personally. I thought I was getting the Jiggling Act. Well, we do have some sort of relations with the Obama administration. Hilda Solis, we brought it to her attention myself personally, and she jumped on it. She jumped on it like there was no tomorrow. And I can't thank enough the Department of Labor, Hilda Solis, for what she does out there. I can't thank her enough because she took this into action. And soon enough, some contractors were the bar, the OSHA came down, everybody has come. She put the pressure on them. Nick Leatia will be in court. I'll be sitting in that courtroom looking at him. You should have sat with me at that table. And I'll make sure he understands that, gets the point across. But the point that I'm trying to bring across, that I would want to bring across, is that if this is the stimulus package money that came into New York City first, and they did this with that, no respect whatsoever for the Obama administration, what else do we think it is happening out there with other prevailing wage jobs and everything else out there? What else do we think the non-union is doing out there? What else is happening in the construction? How many probably people have really, really been injured and hurt that no one knows of, that no one cares of? We should make it a crime. If someone has an employee working for them and takes him out of there and puts him in a car, takes him home, and doesn't take him to the hospital if he gets hurt, should be a crime. He's absolutely right. You know what? I'm a hunter. If I shoot a game out of season, my truck gets confined, my weapons get confined, I go to jail. I gotta pay a $10,000 fine for simple shooting a game out of season. The human rights. We don't value them the way they should be valued. Thank you very much. It's been an honor.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John.